law firm of Brown and Crouppen, uncovering the hidden history, pro wrestling patterns, and the stories behind the stories for unapologetic wrestling fanatics. He doesn't just watch wrestling, he decodes it. Here's Brody Patrico and Jeremy on the Lou Information Station.
Will Powerhouse Hobbs end up going to WWE? And TNA Wrestling had its first episode on AMC. All that and more today on Wrestling on the Spectrum.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Wrestling on the Spectrum, brought to you by Brown and Crouppen, 222-2222. How are you? My name is Tony Patrico, and you spell that Patrico, baby. And welcome on this snowy Saturday afternoon. We are broadcasting live from the J. Randolph Jr. Studios here in beautiful Kirkwood, Missouri. I am joined by the whole crew. We've got my main man, JC. How are you, brother?
I am counting down to the Royal Rumble and our special live show that fans can join us for the watch along.
We will have more info on that in just a second. The man behind the ones and the twos, our good friend, Flying Ryan Swingler. Happy Saturday, buddy.
Oh, yes, a happy Saturday. I feel good.
Love it. Love it. You look good. That's the best part about it, brother. You look good.
Got my hair done this week.
Whoa! Look at he's PLE, everybody.
He's got a new theme song too. He's got a new Titantron.
I gotta get it off, man.
2026 fit.
I love it.
You gotta exit out all the toxic.
That's
more
right.
toxic.
That is for sure.
That's right.
And of course, the man himself, the legend, the myth. Here he is, right here, everybody. Brody the Brain Herman. Brody, how we feeling this Saturday afternoon?
I'm feeling phenomenal. A lot going on in the week of wrestling. I'm looking forward to just talking about it here today.
I know, and that's the beauty of it, is we are in that weird flux right now where, like, there's no PLE this weekend. You know, there's nothing crazy going on. We're 2 weeks out from the Rumble, and this is the time where they're setting things up. So I'm excited to dive into that. But I did want to mention, first things first, if you want to get involved today, you easily can. Go to louinfo.com, click on Watch Live. We're up on the YouTubes. The chat is open and ready to go as well. So if you'd like to get involved, you have questions, comments, concerns, we would love to hear them. Again, louinfo.com. But JC, you had mentioned that we are doing a live Royal Rumble watch party. Give us a little bit more information and details on that.
Yeah, well, January 31st, Road to WrestleMania Royal Rumble. A little different this year as we are in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So that means the start time is 1 p.m. Now, I personally like these afternoon shows. Don't you guys?
Yeah, I love it.
Love
It's fun. It's if you're going to go 3 to 4 hours. So we're going to be live. Fans can tune in to the YouTube page on the Lou Info Station. You can watch along, get our commentary, get Brody's next level insights to it in what should be a wild and rowdy and very interesting Royal Rumble. We'd love to watch with you. It's like you're in the room with Tony and Ryan. It's going to be a blast.
It's going to be so much fun. And I think one of my favorite things about the Royal Rumble is the fact that it's always the who's next. It's the countdown. It's the anticipation. And what better way to watch the Royal Rumble? Listen, it's super easy. Yeah. We're not going to be invading anything.
No.
All you got to do is you have the Rumble up on your TV. You got your laptop or your iPad next to you. And we're just talking. We're shooting the ish.
Instead of hearing commentary, well, we won't have the commentary on, obviously, but if you want to hear commentary from us, great opportunity.
Yeah,
we want to hear from you and your predictions. Powerhouse Hobbs, Chris Jericho, who knows? Conor McGregor. I don't know. This is going to be one of the wildest Rumbles yet.
I can't wait, and I'm always excited about the Rumble, and it seems to be, for me at least, not the kickoff of WrestleMania season, which I know it is, but for me, it's almost like, okay, now I can get back into wrestling.
Right.
There's that lull between Survivor Series and Rumble where it's kind of like, we know that there's going to be major events, but nothing like
John Cena helped that lull this year.
He did. This year's a different story, you know, especially with John Cena. But one of the things I wanted to talk about before we get into WWE, before we get into AEW, we're going to recap all of that. But so TNA is on AMC now.
Yes, they are.
And it's interesting to me. So, Brody, before we really dive into TNA being on AMC, give me, let's say I have no idea what TNA is.
What is? I mean, I think I know what TNA is, but is this a wrestling league?
Okay, so TNA, it's Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. They started in 2002 by the Jarrett family. They had ran Memphis for many, many years. The Memphis territory, as it was commonly known as, the longest running territory in all of wrestling, really in modern day wrestling, one of the longer running territories. Jerry Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett founded it. And then, of course, Panda Energy and Dixie Carter became involved in 2003. And then Dixie really became a major, a prominent figure on TNA, both behind the scenes and on television. She became the president of the company. And they made a lot of bad decisions. They hired Vince Russo, which lost them the deal on Spike. And when TNA was on Spike, they really had something going for a period of time. They had Sting, they had Kurt Angle, they had Hulk Hogan, they had Ric Flair, but obviously due to Dixie's poor hirings, and then Billy Corgan got into the mix, and oh my gosh, and then all the lawsuits, and oh my gosh. And then it was really on its last legs because in 2017, Anthem, a media company based out of Canada, Ed Nordholm bought the company, and now they've really they weren't getting any momentum, any traction. Scott D'Amore was ahead of their creative. Listen, Scott D'Amore is great, and he's great and everything, but they made a pivot. And they made a pivot to become more of a developmental for WWE. They partnered with WWE. They changed leadership. Now Carlos Silva's in charge. They have Hunter Johnston, who's a native St. Louis and who is known as Delirious. He was the head booker of Ring of Honor. He is now charged of TNA's creative. And now they're the new OVW, as our friend Conrad Thompson has said. They're the new Ohio Valley Wrestling. They've become a developmental for WWE. A lot of their talent, they're basically being used as a pipeline. They've cut a lot of their guys. Now some of them are landing on their feet excellently in AEW. Jake something, who is now known as Jake Doyle, is one of those examples, but they've cut a lot of their wrestlers. They've retooled the roster now. They're going on AMC, which is their new television deal. And really, I think that they're kind of becoming, if they're not a veteran of WWE or a veteran roster like a Dolph Ziggler or a Kurt Hawkins or a Frankie Kazarian of the past, and if they're not a wrestler that WWE is interested in, you unfortunately don't really have a place in TNA. So they've really retooled and reshaped the roster, and they had their first episode on AMC on January 15th. They were in Garland, Texas at the Curtis Colwell Center, and there were a few title changes on the show. A lot happened on their first show on AMC, and, I really think that this is good for TNA to become more of a developmental for WWE, and OVW really sending their talent up. You've seen with Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry, and now you're seeing it with Leon Slater on SmackDown. They are elevating talent up to the WWE roster, and I think this is a good thing for TNA, and I like the pivot that the company has taken and not trying to be a competitor of WWE, but instead being an alliance with WWE in this modern wrestling landscape.
I agree with you. Now, if I can take just a couple steps back.
Yes.
Is TNA, the only reason TNA exists today is because Jeff Jarrett got fired on live television?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Because I know that's like the legend is that, McMahon bought WCW, fired Jeff Jarrett on the spot on live TV. He was done. And then all of a sudden you hear TNA come to fruition a year later, 2 years later.
Right.
So it started out of spite, if you really want to break it down.
Of course.
And to be around, think about that. That was what, 99, 98?
No,
When did you-
2002, the year I was born.
Okay.
In that,
02, and still today, TNA is around, regardless of their status and where they sit in the hierarchy of wrestling right now. That's impressive.
This company will not die. This has 9 lives. And if you recall, I remember those first early days, it was a weekly pay-per-view
in Nashville.
of what, about $10?
It was $10.
Yeah, you could watch the shows. I tuned in when Jeff Jarrett went down there, and for a while, TNA was the alternative. It has gone through so many different iterations. For a while, it was Impact Wrestling. And to your point, when Dixie Carter gets involved, when Kurt Angle came, there were some bangers with Samoa Joe. Brody, was that the peak of TNA?
Yeah, I would say the peak of TNA was the Cornette years of 2006 and 2000 through 2009, when you had Cornette, when you had Dutch Mantell.
Bruce Pritchard was down there.
No, Bruce Pritchard came in 2010. That was the start of the downturn. But
Eric
I would
Bischoff,
say, that was the start of the downturn. But I would say TNA's peak years from 2006 to 2009, Cornette, Russo, Dutch Mantell was there. You had Road Dogg, Savio Vega's agents. You had Jeremy Borash, who's excellent, by the way. I've always been a big fan of this guy. Jeremy Borash, I call him the unsung hero of wrestling. For those who don't know, he actually works in WWE now and does a great deal with WWE's Lucha promotion, AAA.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
For a while, it was the alternative, and it felt like they had the heat when the dark days, when there was no competition from, WWE was ruled the scene, some bad creative going on. You could watch the X Division. What are some of the stars over the years that really made themselves? And
well,
you
I think I would
one.
say AJ Styles is probably the biggest one. Look what he's done in WWE. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, James Storm should have been a bigger
Right.
star. He was one of those
He got in his
Good
own way.
point.
He got in
Good
his own
point.
way. I would say
Beer Money. That was
yeah,
a great
that was
run. You're bringing back
great.
memories.
You know,
Yeah.
Jay Lethal was there early on.
Yes.
Xavier Woods was there early on. Ron Killings, R-Truth established himself.
yeah, I
in
forgot about
TNA.
that.
Right. And
There
to
were
your
a lot of guys.
to your point, everyone sort of looks at the jump the shark moment is they tried the Wednesday Night Wars. They brought
no, Monday Night Wars, you mean?
Was it Monday?
Yeah, it was Monday night. Let me tell
Okay,
you the
you're right.
story there.
Forgive me.
January 4th, 2010. And I remember this. I was in the first grade, and I was very upset because I had to now flip the channels between WWE and
Welcome.
TNA because I was watching both of them at
Welcome.
that point in time.
Yeah, that was
that
our
was the
life.
closest
And
you had to the Monday Night
It
Wars
was. I was
one.
frustrated. I was like, I gotta flip the television. Oh my
I
God,
know.
it's Ric Flair. Wait, that's Shawn
I know
Michaels and
exactly.
Bret Hart. Wait, I gotta go back and
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
Oh,
It's just
yeah,
one of those
yeah.
things where I'm like, oh my God, it was so many
It
stars.
was-
It,
it was-
ultimately turned out to be a big mistake.
Now-
It really was.
Now let me ask you this question. Okay, you had mentioned, Kurt Angle
Yes.
had some time in TNA.
Mhm.
I think that I would agree with anybody who would say that bearded, bald Kurt Angle in TNA was some of the best Kurt Angle
Yeah,
work
it
that
was.
he ever had.
Vicious.
I mean, I continuously see on any type of, shocking moments in wrestling, all-time crazy moments in wrestling, all these YouTube clips, Kurt Angle doing the moonsault off the top of the cage in TNA
Yeah.
is one of the most insane spots because what
Right.
people forget is that Kurt Angle wasn't 28 when he was doing this.
No,
Kurt Angle was near the tail end of his career while he
Right.
was doing absolutely incredible things in
Right.
TNA.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
incredible to
Oh,
watch.
yeah.
Well,
So,
it was interesting to watch. I did watch the AMC premiere, and very interesting how they balanced the legacy. They had video roll packages showing Sting, showing some of these
Yeah.
names that have come up from there.
Yeah.
But now you have a new generation, and it was an interesting world. There's a lot of mixed feelings on it. The AMC show, it's just a lot of castaways and new people, but there are some bright spots, and it seems like Mike Santana is one of them.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about where TNA, you did a brilliant job. They're sort of the OVW of it all. Who are some of the folks in TNA right now that you see as the next generation of stars?
I think there are a few names that stand out in my mind. Obviously, Mike Santana is one of them. I would say Moose. They've kept Moose around all these years. He's been
Yeah.
a mainstay in TNA, and maybe he gets a shot
Right.
in WWE. I've mentioned Leon Slater, I think, is one of those guys that they've
right.
really had down there. I mean, but a lot of the roster, I mean, they've had significant roster issues. Maybe I have to reiterate this. Mance Warner is now there, but most of they're bringing a lot of veterans down there. Their
Yeah.
roster now, AJ Francis, who was previously in WWE.
The
Cedric
Hardys are
Alexander.
down there.
The Hardys
They're
are
sort of
down
a
there.
staple.
Elijah's down there. who's
Yes.
Basically,
The same,
Elias in
yeah.
WWE. Eric Young is down there, a veteran.
Wow.
Frankie Kazarian, who he took the title away
Yes.
from. Mike Santana's down there. Eddie Edwards, who's part of the Wolves.
Right.
Met the Hardys, Moose.
Fandango.
Which, by the way,
Mustafa Ali is down there. Dolph Ziggler's down there.
Which, by the way,
is down there.
Fandango, and I believe
Dirty
they
Don.
did they
Steve
not,
Macklin's down there.
am I wrong? Did they just sign, I don't know what he's going by now, but did they just sign Damian Sandow too?
I don't know if I
believe
read
I've
that.
heard
Yeah,
that.
but
I thought I
but
saw
he was
that.
there for a while. It just seems like this weird. Sarah was asking me the hierarchy of all these. I mean, it's sort of a fourth. I think trying to be number 2 to WWE is a fool's errand.
Yeah.
I think they're in such a great place. To your point, Brody, that you would sum up their last year as if you can't beat them, join them. And I think it's done wonders, and that's why I think they
By
got
the
the
way, all
AMC
these
deal.
guys just joined AEW. They have released
Right.
Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, Myron Reed, and Desmond Xavier,
The
and Jake
Rascals.
something, and then now they're in AEW.
Yeah, I
Who
saw
are the
that.
Rascals? I've seen this now.
Yeah, the Rascals. They were all in TNA, and then I don't want to bury these guys, but I don't think WWE saw much in them.
Really?
I not a chance. And then it's like, well,
How would you
and then they
describe
ended up
them?
going
Are they DX? What are
to-
they?
They were just guys in the X division that TNA would
Mhm.
have. That always that X division back in the. Remember, it was Christopher Daniels,
Oh, yeah.
and it was all like Jay Lethal
Yeah,
and
some incredible
all the
highlights.
X division guys that they kind of had. And
Right.
I think they're just not going to end up being much in WWE. And I think TNA's there are two types of wrestlers that you're going to see in TNA. Guys that WWE wants on the main roster in a couple of years, and veterans that they're going to bring
Right.
down there to just mentor the young guys
Yep.
Right.
and helping them up. And that's how it was in OVW. And I think that's better for everybody. And I know everyone's like, oh my God, well, they're not going to build any stars. And see, no, they are building stars.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be built. That's not
Right.
their
It's not
last
built in a day.
destination.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
the
built in a
curse.
day.
You signed a
Right.
deal with the devil. If anyone gets over on here, they probably got a year on them. Joe Hendry, and I'm sure they'll come for Santana at some point. It was fun to see Santino Morello down there.
Oh,
I've
God.
always
Yeah.
listen. I know that's your boy from Jim Cornette. I think Sonya Deville, whatever.
Yeah, she debuted.
Yeah.
They also brought Cora Jade, who's now known as Elena Black, is now
Okay,
down
you're
there.
helping me decipher.
Oh, wait,
some of these folks.
she's there.
Yeah,
So
Elena
I didn't.
Black is there.
I
Cora
didn't
Jade
see
is
that.
down
Alternative
there.
dimension.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty
Canadian
awesome.
dimension.
Now, I guess
Cindy
you can
Hartwell's
say.
down there.
I guess you can say, looking at it, you would consider probably TNA to be AA if you want to talk about in baseball terms.
So this is what Paul Levesque always had a vision for a minor league system where single A is WWE ID, and shout out to Laney Luck, who's a part of Glory Pro Wrestling, is now the women's ID champion on the women's side for WWE.
Oh, really?
That's the single A version, and really are a lot of the independent promotions around the country. And then AA is TNA, NXT is AAA, and then Major Leagues is the main roster.
Okay. Another X Division TNA will be known for the six-sided ring, the Kurt Angle run, the Samoa Joe. We can't talk about TNA without mentioning the Knockouts. They were on fire. You look at Awesome Kong. You look at Gail Kim. Women's wrestling and taking it seriously was sort of rebirthed in TNA.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I even look at, somebody like who lives here in the St. Louis area now, Angelina Love.
Yeah, she was part of it.
She really got her start, really was instrumental in taking that women's division, the Knockouts division, because I think what TNA did with their women's division, while WWE was going, put them in bras, put them in panties, TNA was going, we can highlight their beauty, but let's also let them wrestle.
She was in the Beautiful People. Remember, she was in it with Velvet Sky.
Bully Ray did his best work there, and I don't understand why that never came up to WWE.
Actually, I'll have a point on that. It was pitched. Vince McMahon knew about Bully Ray, and we've never heard the full story about it, but it was going to be Bubba Ray the Intimidator, and that was going to be a character in WWE, and it never went to fruition.
He was on fire. He had it. That may be the legacy, is the missed opportunities of things that caught on that never translated.
Let me tell you this, okay? This is one of the funniest stories that I know about TNA, and I love this story so much, is when they were doing the Aces and Eight. Right. Okay. And they were doing it. It was kind of like a motorcycle gang that was just causing havoc. The story had a great buildup and then immediately fell apart, very quickly.
Right.
But one of my favorite things about it is they needed masked guys to get in the ring, and they needed people that knew how to work.
Yes.
So backstage, they decided to ask some of the guys to get into the ring. And D'Lo Brown was one of those guys.
Yes.
He was never supposed to wrestle. He was never supposed to be in it. He was a backstage talent. And he got into the ring, and within the first 5 seconds, the crowd started chanting D'Lo Brown because his movements, the way he looked,
everything.
He said, and I quote, he goes, I would have got away, looks too familiar.
That's
so
hilarious.
The back of his head. So all of a sudden, they had to change the script and write into the storyline that D'Lo Brown was a member of Aces and Eight.
Brody,
but I
I wanna
thought was
ask you
great.
something.
That's
He's still an
fantastic.
agent down in TNA or WWE, still working in the company. But yes, that was.
I just love it.
He was there from March of 2013 to July of 2013.
You mentioned Bobby Roode, and to me, it felt like there was a moment. I think it was a Bound for Glory that Hulk Hogan might have been reffing, but it was Sting. No, Roode was supposed to win the title, and they didn't put him on him, and it felt like this missed moment that TNA.
I think they were figuring out who the guy was. Everybody knows the guy should have been Bobby Roode. Is it James Storm? Is it Bobby Roode? Do we know who it really
like a
is?
missed thing. He wasn't ready. It just felt like TNA had a moment to break out, and at every moment they chose the wrong.
That's it.
What he's referring to is when Kurt Angle won the title at Hardcore Justice, and then on Impact, James Storm beat Kurt Angle, and then the next week, Bobby Roode beat James Storm. Like, we made a mistake.
What's happening?
Completely.
There was another one
perfect.
too,
That is the perfect way to, I think, summarize at least the old TNA.
Correct.
Was they always got right there and then dropped the ball when it counted. It counted.
Listen,
but let's talk about the AMC show, because it has been very polarizing.
Right.
I tuned in. I didn't watch the whole show, full disclosure, and I tuned in probably at a time that really didn't do the full show justice. It was when they were introducing Mr. Elegance.
Who is that?
I don't know who that is. I don't know why I don't know why I'm supposed to care.
Right.
It almost looked like Timu Dragunov.
I thought
that,
so too.
That's kind of what it looked like.
Yeah.
I just, again, I'm sorry, and maybe it's my fault because I'm not up to date on the storylines of TNA. But if you are going to come out on AMC and you're going to offer this product to the public for the very first time, you have to create a show that is going to get somebody like me who is familiar with wrestling but not necessarily up to date on TNA, and you got to give me a reason to come back. Unfortunately, I'm just going to say it. I don't think they did.
Yeah.
Are you just not a fan of developmental concept, or do you
No,
think that's a good concept?
I think it's a fantastic concept. And to be honest with you, some of the names that are there, like I really enjoy watching the actual product. But again, for you to network, you are supposed to be putting your best foot forward, correct?
Yeah.
You would assume on the debut episode, you put your absolute best foot forward, and I don't necessarily know if they accomplished that.
Well, I would argue they thought they were in every turn, and you're sitting backstage and you say, we need the biggest, broadest audience. Let's bring in a Perez Hilton. Let's bring in AJ Styles to listen, say whatever. I think they were trying to bring in as many known names and while integrating new ones as much as they could. But there's some visa issues too. But the weird thing everybody's talking about, there is a pay-per-view tonight called Genesis. Sega does what Nintendo don't, right? It is tonight. And evidently it is a whole Texas death match that wasn't announced. And Dolph Ziggler, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, is the referee. So it just feels a little duct taped together, and maybe they're trying, but you know what? This is the little promotion that could.
Yeah, it's the rematch. It's going to be Mike Santana versus Frankie Kazarian and Nick Nemeth. Dolph Ziggler will be the referee. JDC, who is Fandango, it's his retirement match tonight. He's going to take on Eddie Edwards. You got Channing. Stax Lorenzo versus Eric Young versus BDE versus a surprise four-way match for the international title. You got Li Ying Lee versus Zarya. That's from NXT. Zarya, who is tagged with Sol Ruka in NXT for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. You've got the TNA World Tag Team Championship. The Hardys, Jeff and Matt, going up against the Righteous, Vincent and Dutch. Elijah, who is known as Elias in WWE versus Mustafa Ali, who's also in WWE. AJ Francis versus Rich Swann. Both those guys were previously in WWE. Cedric Alexander versus Moose versus Joe Hendry actually on the show. So it'll be a three-way. Cedric Alexander previously WWE, and then Ryan Nemeth versus Mara Sabe.
Well, this is the most people have been talking about TNA. I think they're making the right move. So, shout out to that. There's so much wrestling.
Titles on the first episode.
It doesn't matter. It just doesn't. Nothing matters.
See, that's what Tony's saying. Like, well, it just doesn't matter.
No,
nothing.
It's fine.
Here's my question. I have a question before we go to the break. And I know we've got, Raw and SmackDown and AEW and a bunch of other stuff to cover here. But my question is this. So do you see these veterans that are WWE famous, i.e. the Hardys, things like that?
Right.
Do you see them eventually getting at least one more shot in WWE, or do you think
never say never? No, never say never.
Drew McIntyre went
never
to TNA.
Different though. Drew McIntyre was younger.
But
I understand.
Yes, I do think that they'll get a chance to go back to WWE and close out their careers. I really wish Kazarian would have gotten his WWE opportunity a little sooner. It probably will happen for him. It'll just maybe be a little later. Yeah, like it'll be more like he'll maybe have a little run and then like more a trainer. Have a backstage role. Yeah, no, I agree. I think they'll get maybe a little run at the end of their WWE careers, but I think this is more they have their last in-ring years left, and then they're trying to transition them like Dolph Ziggler into producers or backstage.
But they can reinvent themselves, and any platform that's good for wrestlers to be creative on TV is a good thing. And anywhere they get paid, I have no idea the financials of this company, but my goodness, I can't imagine they're making too much money right now. But they've been doing good.
Dixie Carter paid for all of their stars, so I'm sure WWE is helping.
Yeah,
Sting had 14 retirement matches there.
Right. Well, we'll have to see if we see any TNA names hitting the Royal Rumble when we get back from the break here. We've got your Raw recap. We'll talk SmackDown. We'll talk AEW. And of course, we'll talk about some rumors and things we're hearing as we lead into the Royal Rumble. This is Wrestling on the Spectrum on the Lou Information Station, online and on demand 24/7 at louinfo.com.
Hot Take Central 2.0.
No, it's really getting out of hand, man. It's going way out of control.
With Cam Jansen.
I'm going to lead you down the path that rocks.
And Jimmy the Cat Hayes.
You're a legend in the city, living by day instead of night.
Weekday mornings from 8 to 10.
Hell yeah.
Only on the Lou Information Station. Streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com. Hot Take Central 2.0.
This whole situation is getting out of control.
Lunchtime just got a whole lot better at Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill. From mouth-watering wrap to loaded quesadillas to bold, flavor-packed sandwiches, Hot Shots has something fresh every single day, along with your favorite wings, burgers, and pizza that you know and love. Don't sleep on those Hot Shots tacos. Plus, if you gotta be in and out quick for lunch, Hot Shots has you covered every day starting at 11 a.m. Find your nearest Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill now at hotshotsnet.com. That's hotshotsnet.com.
Is your brand stuck on the sidelines? Tired of feeling like your marketing budget is just warming the bench? Well, then it's time to get in the game with Eyesight Media. We don't just put your brand near the action, we put you in the action. Imagine this, your company front and center, showcased in NCAA and pro stadiums and arenas nationwide. If you're ready to elevate your brand to MVP status, don't miss this shot. Visit eyesightmediagroup.com today to apply for an in-arena partnership. That's eyesightmediagroup.com.
Fast Track Auto Transport has been a trusted leader in vehicle shipping for over 25 years, providing reliable, affordable service across the U.S. Fast Track offers fast and safe transportation solutions for individuals, dealerships, fleets, and businesses of all sizes. The Fast Track team prides itself on honest communication, competitive pricing, and real-time tracking, which gives our customers peace of mind from pickup to delivery. Whether you're shipping a single car or managing a large fleet, Fast Track delivers a smooth, hassle-free experience every time. Come see why Fast Track Auto Transport has been St. Louis's go-to company for all your vehicle transport needs for over 25 years. The trusted way, the safe way, the Fast Track way. Visit ftautotrans.com or call 636-677-9004. That's ftautotrans.com or call 636-677-9004.
I'm Big Toe Media President Dave Green, and for the last few months, I've been telling you about what makes Home Bank different. Local people, local decisions, and real relationships. So let me take that a step further. When you walk into Home Bank, you're not walking into a system, you're walking into a conversation. This is a bank that understands St. Louis because they're part of it. The people making decisions live here, work here, and invest back into the same communities you do. That matters, especially when you need answers, flexibility, and a partner you can trust. Big banks can make promises. Home Bank builds relationships. If you're ready for a smarter, more personal banking experience, I'd encourage you to start that conversation today with Home Bank, the team behind our team. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Home Bank, member FDIC. More than a bank, they're your business partner.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Brown and Crouppen, we get that after an accident, money's tight. That's why we offer so much for free. First call, free. First consultation, free. Stuck at home or in the hospital, we'll come to you for free. So call Brown and Crouppen, where we don't get paid unless you do. And your first consultation is free.
It's still Brody, damn it. Now back to more of Wrestling on the Spectrum with Brody the Brain Herman, JC and Patrico on the Lou Information Station. Streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com.
Welcome back to Wrestling on the Spectrum. My name is Tony Patrico, joined by JC, Flying Ryan Swingler, and Brody the Brain Herman. Wrestling on the Spectrum brought to you by Brown and Crouppen, online getbc.com. Of course, you can get involved in the show today. louinfo.com is the website. All you got to do is click watch live. It'll take you right to the Lou Info YouTube page where you can watch the show. You can also take advantage of the chat room there as well. Ask questions, get involved, put your comments there. Hey, don't forget also, there is the Lou Info app as well. And if you haven't downloaded that, please do so. The main reason being is take us wherever you go. You're listening right now. You're getting ready to walk in the house. You hit the Lou Info app. The station immediately starts playing in crystal clear HD quality. It is free to download on the Google Play Store and on the Apple App Store. So before the break, we got caught up on everything that's going on with TNA, a little bit of history there. Brody, listening to you talk about the history of wrestling is something I could probably do every day of my life, just because when you get somebody that's as passionate as you are, that is knowledgeable as you are, and that just loves talking about it, it is fantastic. So I do want to, in the future for 2026 for Wrestling on the Spectrum, we're going to be putting out more content online. Maybe stuff that we're not going to even talk about here on the show. Maybe Brody just talks about his favorite matches, his favorite wrestler of all time. So make sure you're following us on all of our socials. You can get all that information by going to the website louinfo.com. But of course, lots of wrestling happened this week. Brody, I'm going to pass it over to you here. Let's start start talking about some of the things that went down on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, WWE had a loaded week. Obviously, Monday Night Raw, for those who don't know, it was in Dusseldorf, Germany. For most wrestling fans, they first heard the word Dusseldorf when Excalibur referred to it on Aleister Black's debut in AEW's Malachi Black. I wrestled him in Dusseldorf, Germany, and it kind of butchered the debut.
That's a very,
So
that's a very,
most people
brother.
heard the word Dusseldorf. No, it's a real place, folks.
Wow.
It's in Germany. And there was a lot that happened. Javon Evans defeated Tyler Bates. For those who don't know, he was known as Bravo Americano on the show, but he's a British wrestler. Then for the women's tag team title contendership triple threat match, the Judgment Day, Roxanne Perez and Liv Morgan defeated Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, and the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. They are going to face off against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky next week, or I don't know when it's going to happen. I think it's, I don't know if it's next week or it's 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yes, 2 weeks. Okay. It's 2 weeks, and then tag team match, Dragon Lee and Penta defeat the Vision, Austin Theory and Bronson Reed by disqualification. So this won't be the last match between these two teams. And the main event, Gunther, who's from Austria, but it's basically near Germany, and defeated AJ Styles. The Terminator continues. The Legend Killer kind of run continues, where he defeats another legend to cap off the main event of Monday Night Raw.
What did you think of that finish?
I thought, you know what? I knew that AJ was going to lose this match,
Right.
and you know what? Just get this match out of the way. You don't want AJ to lose every single match in 2026 if this is going to be his last year, and keep the Legend Killer run going. People associate him with the Cena loss. Keep him winning matches. Keep him having to beat legends. And I think it keeps Gunther hot. And I think that's what they want to do going into WrestleMania.
I thought that was creative how they had Gunther tap, but the ref couldn't see it.
Right,
I'm sure
yeah.
it's
I loved
been
it.
used before. But
I love that. I thought that was
Cheating
great
heel.
because, again, it puts more heat on him.
Right.
What do you
puts more
mean you
heat
beat AJ Styles? No, you
Right,
didn't. You
right,
tapped. You
right.
lost. They
You're
just
the
didn't
best
see it, you know?
wrestler. You had to cheat.
Yep. Now, here is the one thing I absolutely love about Gunther. And if Triple H is listening to this podcast today for
does.
whatever reason, I know he does. So if he's listening today, I just want to let him know you can use this, but you will have to pay me. When it comes to Gunther, you want to know what a good, they're calling him the Legend Killer, but obviously
They
Orton
call
already
him
is.
the Terminator.
No, you know what they need to call him? They need to call him the conductor of violence.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling
The
you,
Symphony of Violence.
yes, because he beautifully puts together such physical and violent matches that it's almost like you're watching a symphony, because there's loud, massive crashes. There's very, very fine-tuned, finesse. And it's just incredible to watch. He is truly the conductor of violence. I'm telling you right now.
I see the entrance. He's got the whole conductor outfit on. He's got a stick like this.
I think it's
I mean,
great.
even his current theme is a symphony.
And
so,
then I missed the old one.
I know. Yeah, I know.
But then he could later be a manager, and he's like orchestrating his tag team.
Brody, what are your thoughts on them putting Theory and Reed together?
You know what? If you're going to elevate Braun Breaker to be a main eventer, you have the other tag team with Theory and Bronson Reed by default in the Vision. That's kind of where they are.
How's the Austin Theory experiment going?
I think it's going great.
He loves it, but you are biased. I'm telling you, you are biased. You've said before that Austin Theory is one of your favorite wrestlers.
Oh, yeah, he is.
I look at this, and to be honest with you, and this is going to sound terrible, and I'm Brody, I don't come at me on this one, but I forget Austin Theory is even in the Vision. He disappears to me.
Create a wrestler.
He does. I do agree. When you load WWE 2K25, you know who it is? It's Austin Theory as Joe Wrestler. But
he needs to break out.
And this is a Juvenile would appreciate this. This is a big old butt. Okay, listen to me. I think you got to give it time, because
for sure
everybody is currently comparing Austin Theory today to the Austin Theory we used to know. Let's stop doing that and just look at Austin Theory today and give it time for him to build his place in the Vision, because as we know, they kind of threw him in there. And believe it or not, maybe it was the plan down the road, but I think Rollins' injury forced this to happen sooner than they wanted it to. So I'm going to give it some time, but I look at Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker and I go, unstoppable tag team. Those two are monsters. That's great. I look at Bronson Reed and Austin Theory and I go, thank God Austin Theory's got Bronson Reed, because he just, again,
he needs an edge.
About
he
him.
needs to have a
something.
banger match with Randy Orton or a veteran or something. He just needs to stand out.
They have to have Bronson Reed and Austin Theory because they're trying to have Braun Breaker become a breakout single, so you have no choice. What are you going to do? I mean, you're going to have Braun Breaker be a breakout singles star. You almost have to pair up, Austin Theory's Bronson Reed as the two guys behind, Braun Breaker. Then eventually, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker can have tension, and then the Vision end up, dissipating in front of our eyes at some point in time. But, You're right, Tony. I think Paul Heyman, you're right from the standpoint that, give it time and don't compare to Austin Theory to the Austin Theory of the past. Paul Heyman likes him, so there you go.
Do you think it would have been different if he would have came back with a different name?
No.
You know what I mean?
I
not
think
even
Heyman
a
likes
different
the
name, but just coming back as Theory.
Right.
Or something like that.
I think Heyman likes the name. How do you like him without the bodysuit?
It's better. I like it better. I thought the bodysuit was silly.
Needs a match where he bleeds. And listen, when Seth Rollins comes back, that's a respect match or something where they go the distance.
Yeah,
or,
I think
that would be great.
He just needs to be crowned.
So, Brody, this is a question I have before we move on to SmackDown here. We're talking about Gunther. We're talking about how he beats AJ Styles, another notch, another feather in the cap for the quote-unquote legend killer. Here's my question to you. Where do we go with Gunther? Where's he going next?
I think you bring legends back. I just have him keep beating people.
Okay, so who's the next legend?
I don't think this AJ thing's done. I could see it at Royal Rumble or maybe Saturday Nights. I don't know.
Well, put your booking hat on, Brody. Who's the next legend?
I think they've wrapped it up pretty much. Maybe they have another match this year, but then what are you going to have AJ lose again?
Yeah, well, who's that legend then? Because you can't just do it with, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Maybe you have it with Brock at Mania. Maybe you have Jericho. Maybe you do something there. Like there are other guys. Have him beat Shinsuke and have him cut a promo.
Well,
on Shinsuke
are we doing a Royal Rumble
Japan,
showdown?
Not a legend in WWE and have him beat Shinsuke.
Okay, fair. He's not doing anything. Jeez. Do you have a Gunther Brock stare down at the Royal Rumble to tease a WrestleMania match?
I think
he's
should
right.
If you're going to do the match.
No, I think he did. I think he said it correctly. I think this is the opportunity that Jericho debuts.
Yeah.
Jericho comes down. There's whatever happens. Gunther comes down and it's Jericho and Gunther. And then you go, okay, there's the clear picture as far as who he's going to quote unquote terminate next.
Yeah. So, Gunther could come out bragging about how Jericho will be face coming in.
Mm-hmm.
You'll always have that face run right when you come back. That's not a bad booking.
Yeah, I think it's great. So I'm excited to see what they do next week on Raw. But of course, we got to talk about SmackDown as well.
Yeah, so it set up the match. I mean, Randy Orton defeated The Miz. Trick Williams defeated Matt Cardona. Sami Zayn defeated Ilya Dragunov. Damian Priest defeated Solo Sikoa. So now the main event of Saturday Night's main event in Montreal will be Randy Orton versus Trick Williams versus Damian Priest versus Sami Zayn. Now, Sami's going to win this one. And Sammy's going to go to the Rumble to face Drew, and he won't win at the Rumble, but he's going to go to the Rumble and face Drew. So it's kind of obvious of where it's going. Yeah, I like it. Just do it. I know that, there's too many multi-man matches anyway. I wish it would be more of a triple threat. We don't really need the fourth in there, but yeah, you know what? Load it up. It's not going to hurt anybody, right? It's a multi-man match with no rules. Who cares? You can go balls to the wall and, you can build storylines around what goes on in that fatal four-way match. But at the end of it, I do believe Sami Zayn will win, and I think Sami Zayn will end up facing Drew at the Rumble. And also another thing that happened on SmackDown, Ryan's going to like this. Carmelo Hayes defeated Leon Slater, the fellow countryman in England.
Yeah.
He's from England. They were in London. He lost to Carmelo Hayes in the United States title match. I don't know if people expected it to be Slater, two younger guys.
Well, visa issues prevented him from coming to TNA.
But
That's
it was
the
just
workhorse title right there.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
it wasn't bad, but it wasn't. Oh, it wasn't
really. Some of those cutters were insane.
I think the audience there though didn't want to see Leon Slater lose, but they knew he was going to lose. So I think they were just there. They were just watching, and they knew Leon wasn't going to win, but they were getting behind Leon, and I don't know. I feel like the U.S. Open Challenge, Ryan was kind of lamenting on this last week. I like a younger wrestler holding the title, that veterans that come in and answer the Open Challenge. And then, it's like Carmelo and Shinsuke, or they did it with Ilya, and they, I like it. I like it. It's a good way for veteran wrestlers to have matches with younger wrestlers and elevate younger wrestlers.
Right.
And I think in just this match, it was, I don't know. It was just kind of a match that happened in Slater's home country. And I think Hayes ultimately won, and yeah, you're right. The cutters were good, and I think it was a solid contest between these two, and it shows me that they're going to do more with Leon Slater, so that's the positive.
I agree, and I know they haven't just come out and flat out said it yet. I think this is where we're headed with the U.S. title, is the fact that they just need to keep this Open Challenge thing going.
Yeah, it's great.
It is incredibly entertaining.
Right.
It gives you that opportunity to either, like you said, Brody, showcase that younger talent or bring them those veterans in a returning fashion. I think it is very smart for them to just go full born with the, hey, this title is now officially an open title. There will be no real storylines. We're going to keep this
it's
belt
not just that,
on
Tony.
somebody that has a
It's
wrestling
when you go
background.
it's not just that. It's that we're not advertising. You know there is going to be a title match on SmackDown, but we're not going to tell you who it is.
Yep, which is
then it's a
exciting.
That's
surprise.
fun. It's unboxing.
It's
Hey,
a
gang,
surprise.
speaking of surprises, are we going to see the big rumor that hit this week?
Yep.
Royal Rumble, see Powerhouse Hobbs in
Yeah,
Saudi
that's
Arabia?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I do. I don't think it's. I listen. I think Powerhouse Hobbs is a WWE guy. I really do. I don't think he fits in AEW. I actually, saw and met Will Powerhouse Hobbs on Top Guy Weekend when he was here in St. Louis. They did a wonderful presentation. He has an interesting backstory. I think he's a WWE guy. I think he'll end up in WWE because I think they can do more with him. I don't think he fits in with AEW anymore. And I think he feels like, I don't like being AEW. He's that type of guy. I want to go to WWE. I fit there better. I don't really like being in AEW anymore. I'm not getting pushed here. I don't fit what they need. I don't ever get pushed in AEW, which I don't know why. I don't know why Tony doesn't see anything in Powerhouse Hobbs, but I think WWE will see something in Powerhouse Hobbs and will push him to being at least in the mix in a main roster. I don't know if I have him debut immediately on the main roster. He probably will because he's coming from AEW, but I wouldn't mind seeing him in NXT.
See, so that was my question for
I
you.
wouldn't mind seeing him in NXT.
Yeah, my question to you was, and this kind of goes back to our earlier conversation about TNA and about becoming this quote unquote minor league system for professional wrestling. Are gone the days of when they debut directly to WWE, or is WWE and the machine going to make them kind of go through those necessary steps, whether it be TNA,
for some
NXT,
guys
or
they do, other guys they don't, depending on age and depending on what they have for them creatively, if they think they're ready. I don't know what WWE thinks about Hobbs, if he's ready for main roster. If he's not, we're going to put him in NXT. I'm not sure what they're going to do with him yet. NXT has called up a lot of guys now. They've kind of cleared the deck, and I think they are going to bring in some stars into TNA. So I'm very interested in seeing maybe what they do with Powerhouse Hobbs, or if he's going to go to NXT or he gets called up immediately to the main roster.
I also think what they can do is, especially with the Rumble coming up, what's the harm in debuting somebody as...
Remember with Rusev. Remember they did it with Rusev.
Or what they can do is they can debut somebody on the Rumble, the Rumble, and have them coming out. The music hits, the Titantron hits, it says Hobbs or whatever his name's going to be. It says that, and everybody's like, yes, he's here. And he comes out rocking a TNA shirt. And everybody's like, what?
Interesting.
He picked TNA. And then all of a sudden now, I know that a lot of people don't like, you're probably one of these people that are going to push back on this. But I believe if it is done right, it can be good. And they're trying, and they necessarily connect all the dots, but the invasion angle, it can happen, whether it be TNA into NXT.
Well, they've been doing TNA versus NXT.
That's what I'm saying. They haven't connected the dots though. They've been doing it, and it's a great crossover. Let's do it. Let's really get into it.
It's exactly like the invasion, but WCW.
They don't see it as an invasion.
Yes.
They don't see TNA and WWE.
Right.
This generation of fans see it as together and not separated.
Yeah, you'd
That's
have
just my
to.
opinion.
It's just like when they tried the WCW invasion, and it was like Lance Storm. All respect to Lance Storm. People wanted to see the big stars.
Yeah, I wanted to see Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, not Lance Storm and
yes,
Booker
Billy
T was
Kidman
was maybe the best. Booker T,
But not the
yes,
star.
but
remember when
that's
they
fine.
did with DDP and the
it's such
soccer?
a botch thing.
Yeah, the
I know.
DDP thing was rough. Now, hey, before we get into Beat the Brain, because I have a Royal Rumble theme to Beat the Brain, which I think would be really good.
Yep.
I do want to say this, because one of the things I absolutely love, and I don't think she gets a lot of credit, but I don't think she gets the credit that is truly deserved. We have to just give flowers to Chelsea Green. She loses matches
Every
so
time.
incredibly, so entertaining. No matter what she does, it doesn't matter if she's a heel, if she's a baby face, if she's winning, losing, in the ring or outside of the ring. Chelsea Green has it.
Yeah.
She has it. She is so talented. So when there is superstars out there that you gotta at least, give the flowers, give credit where credit is due, Chelsea Green is one of those people that
100%.
She takes comedy and does it the right way in professional
Always
wrestling.
entertaining.
And,
Absolutely.
and isn't trying to be a main event star, at least in most instances. And wait until she gets paired up with Matt Cardona, because it's going to happen sooner rather than later.
I can't
weeks.
wait. I can't wait. As soon as
happen.
as soon as Cardona was back, and as soon as I saw that they were not going to have him be Zack Ryder, they were going to have him be Matt Cardona, I went, yes, this is the collab I've been waiting for.
It's going to happen.
This, you know what it is? It's Cross and Scarlett.
Yes.
But it's with a little bit more.
It's not going to be as dark. It's going to be a
Yes.
little more energetic, a little bit more of we're
Stoked.
not trying to be main event stars. You know,
No, we know where
we're
we live.
elevating people.
We know
Karrion
where we live.
Kross in the Royal Rumble. Big bold prediction.
That could happen.
That's what you say, huh? I
Why
don't
not?
believe that. I don't believe
Why
that.
not?
As it
Save the clip.
stands today, I do
Could
not.
happen.
I do not have any like. I think this person. The only one I'm going to say is I think we see Kevin Owens return.
I think Kevin Owens could happen.
That's
I
good.
really do. I think
I
there's a
like
bigger
this.
chance
Everybody
that Owens
name
returns.
one name that's coming back.
All right, so
Kevin Owens?
you say
Would you
Karrion
I'm gonna
put
go
it in
say
its main
Karrion
event in
Kross.
Canada where he's from Montreal, or would you save it for the Rumble? with
Save it
Kevin?
for the Rumble.
Okay. Save it for the
Don't
Rumble.
try and do too much. You're
Yeah.
gonna give Sammy his
agree.
moment in Montreal.
You're right. Ryan, who returns at the Rumble that we
Nick-
haven't said?
Nick Nemeth.
Interesting.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Brody,
One
got
of the
another
main
one down
roster
there?
runners.
Come on, what else you got in the
Should I
chamber?
say Chad Gable? Because I feel like he's
Interesting.
got to come back soon.
And he
That's
has a stare down with Mr. Americana.
I think
or
that's great.
whatever.
I
That'd be
told
great.
you. I think the one thing that is going to happen at the Rumble, just because they're going to do it because they know they can, you will see all of the Grandes. It will
That's
be.
fun.
It will be.
You know what I like? How about a Chad Gable Javon Evans feud? Just have it like on the lower mid card and just have those
I wouldn't
guys
hate that. Both of
battle
those
for a
guys
couple
work like
matches. I like
wild
it.
men. They work like wild men. So I would definitely
I like
see
it.
that.
I like it.
Okay, so Brody, this is we're going to be a little bit tamer today. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
These are all questions about the Royal Rumble. Difficulty ranges from absolutely super easy to holy hell, I didn't know that answer. Okay. So, like, for example, here's question number 1. Who won the very first Royal Rumble match in 1988?
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
You are correct. Was the Royal Rumble the official name for the first ever Royal Rumble?
No, sir.
What was it?
I think it was a primetime wrestling event,
It-
and it featured the Rumble.
It did, and they called it the Rumble Royal.
Yeah, they called it the Rumble Royal.
Isn't
Wow.
that stupid?
Didn't know that.
Isn't that real stupid? Okay, here we go. I love this. Which Royal Rumble was the very first Rumble to officially have 30 participants?
Ooh, that would have been 9. It was in 1991. It was in 90.
It was later in the 90s, believe it or not.
No, really? What about
Mhm.
wait? What about Royal Rumble 92 at 30?
Yep, you're right. 1992.
92 at
I don't know
30.
why I thought 1992 was apparently later. You said 91. It threw me off.
No, I said
1992.
91.
Hey, who holds the record for the most Royal Rumble wins ever?
Oh my gosh,
It's a tough one. Once if you really think about it, you
Is it
can.
Steve Austin?
It is Stone Cold
Yeah,
Steve
Steve
Austin. How
Austin.
many?
He won it 3 times.
4.
When did he win it? This was 4th because he
It-
won it in 98. He won it in 99.
This is
He
why we
won
call
it
this Beat the Brain.
in 2001. And did he? When was the 4th?
I don't know, Jeremy. Will you
I'll be on
fact
it.
check me because I might. That is one that I
Yeah,
might have. I
I
might
know
have
he won
messed
it
up,
3
guys.
times.
Cat GPT gets us again.
I
maybe.
mean, when it comes to now, I know that if computers take over the world, okay, if computers take over the world, I'm saying it right now. I side with Brody Herman.
I think Brody's right. It's only
Yeah, he won 3 times.
I think it's 3
Oh.
times. Oh my gosh,
When
I won the
computers
3.
take over the world,
Oh
I side with Brody Herman.
Chat GP Tony.
Because I'm not gonna
I side with him.
Hey, I
I'm
was
not
there.
a beat the brain guy, but I kind of knew that like Steve
That's
won
3.
3.
And
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Because I knew he won one in
Steve won
2003.
I did too, but I would assume that the computer
Yeah.
and this massive amounts of information it can access. Okay, who was the first wrestler to win the Royal Rumble from the number 1 position?
Oh, was it? Is it? Was it? No, was it? Was it? Was it Ric Flair? Was it Edge?
It was not Ric Flair. It was not Edge. The year was 1995.
Was it Brett?
It wasn't Brett.
95.
You're very close.
Is
If
it
it wasn't Brett, who would it be?
Owen?
No,
Oh, come on.
No.
Come on.
Oh, Shawn.
Shawn
I said
Michaels.
Shawn. Wait, did I say
Shawn-
Shawn?
You did not. No.
Oh, I said Ric Flair and Edge.
Yep.
No, it was Shawn.
Yep.
It was Shawn.
Okay,
Put them
which,
together.
what wrestler has
Yeah.
spent the longest time ever in a single Royal Rumble match?
Was it Rey Mysterio?
No.
Oh no. Is it?
I'll give you the
Edge?
time. 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 40 seconds.
Oh.
And it happened in 2023.
Oh.
Oh my God, was it Gunther?
It was Gunther.
Yeah, it was Gunther.
It was Gunther. Here's a good one. The Royal Rumble in 2002.
Yeah.
Who eliminated The Undertaker?
Maven. How could you not forget
was.
that? He's still relevant.
It
to
sure
this
was.
day.
Okay, hey, Brody, which Royal Rumble winner went on to choose the ECW championship for his WrestleMania match?
Oh, for God's sake.
It happened in 2006. It was a big one.
Dark days.
What? Was it? I thought Ray won it in 06, or no? I guess he was in it for the longest, but he didn't win it. RVD?
Nope.
That's who I thought.
It was not RV. Wait a minute. In 06, Rey Mysterio faced Angle and Orton in triple threat at
Look at this.
Mania.
I love
was
this.
there.
Yeah, but the winner of the 06 Royal Rumble challenged for the ECW title. Oh my God. Is it Edge? Who won it in 06? Wait,
It's
no.
not Edge.
In
We're
06?
fact checking.
Yeah, I'm fact checking
Yeah,
too.
in 06? I have no idea who would have. Wait. No, Ray did win.
Yeah, it does say Rey Mysterio, but he did not challenge for the ECW championship. I'm telling
Brody
you.
beat the computer again.
Hold on, guys. I'm telling you, when the computers take over, I choose Brody Herman. All right, hey, I've got one more for you, okay? This is a good one.
Yeah.
What wrestler has competed in the most Royal Rumble matches?
Oh, that's a good one. Randy Orton?
I think it's a really good one. Nope. Now, I'll give you a few seconds to think about it here before you go start. Give me some of your who you think it may be.
I think it could be. Is it? It's if it's not Orton, if it's not Kane.
I didn't say it wasn't Orton. I didn't say it wasn't Kane. I just said before you answer, give me a couple.
Okay, I would say Randy Orton. I would say Kane. I would say possibly The Undertaker. I would say.
I'll tell you who it's not, Brody. It's not Shawn Michaels. It's not The Undertaker. It's not Dolph Ziggler, Randy Orton, or Roman Reigns. Who may it be? Give me your final answer right now.
Kane.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Kane.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if the questions are wrong, if the answers are wrong, if the computers itself are wrong. If I ever need an answer to a wrestling question, there is one person I'm going to call, and it is Brody the Brain Herman.
Yep.
That is for sure. The brain remains absolutely unbelievable.
And
still champion. I mean, it doesn't matter. If I could literally have a wrestling historian in here and he would leave feeling stupid after Brody got done with them.
Are there such things? I guess there are.
There are. Hey, guys, don't forget, we have a Royal Rumble live watch party happening for the Rumble. You can stream it live on lootinfo.com. We will have all the details next week, including our official Royal Rumble and Saturday night's main event recap and preview. We'll do all of that stuff next week. For Brody the Brain Herman, for JC, for Fly and Ryan Swingler, my name is Tony Patrico. This is Wrestling on Spectrum.
What are you so happy about?